They didn't know.
They
The
didn't
drivers
know.
didn't know what they do. Yeah, they just did their job, and etc. Of course.
So the Russian drivers go in all over Russia. They think they have containers or mobile units, mobile cottages, have no idea the drones are there. And you know those roofs are going to open up with
Yeah.
drones.
They didn't know anything. They didn't know what will be in the roofs. They didn't know just because they didn't know what will be. That's why they didn't know when it will be and where.
This is my video update on this Saturday afternoon, June the 7th, coming to you from Athens, Greece. Let's talk about some news. And let's start things off with Zelensky speaking to Martha Radish on ABC News. And Zelensky was talking about the airfield strikes in Russia. And the claim that is being made is that, from Zelensky, is that only he and the SBU knew about this 18-month operation. Nobody else knew about this. Nobody in the collective West, definitely nobody in the United States, and absolutely nobody in the Trump White House. It was only the leader of the SBU, Malyuk, who kept this quiet from even other officials in the SBU and Zelensky. Zelensky says that the drivers were Russian of the trucks. They had no idea that drones were inside the trucks. And when they arrived at their destination, the drones were released. And as Zelensky was claiming that there was no one else involved in this strike on Russian airfields, you could see him smiling. You can see Martha Radish smiling as she's giving the questions to Zelensky, the scripted questions to Zelensky. They're holding back their laughter because even they understand that this is a ridiculous claim. But that's what they're going with. Keep in mind that Zelensky is a professional actor. You can see that he's holding back the laughter. He's cracking a smile as he's saying that no one else knew about the Operation Spider Web. So I imagine that we're going to be getting a lot of this over the next week or two. A lot of Zelensky appearing on media, Collective West Media, a lot of Ukraine officials on Collective West Media, as well as White House officials, claiming that they had no knowledge whatsoever about the attacks on Russia's nuclear assets. So there you have it. The Green Goblin speaking to Martha Radish. And we are getting reports that Zelensky is planning to meet with U.S. President Trump on the sidelines of the G7, which is going to take place on June 15th in Canada. Canada is going to be hosting the next G7 summit, the summit of the great seven powerful countries of which Ukraine is a part of which UK and Germany, Canada, Japan, they're all a part of the great seven countries. France is a part of the great seven countries. They're going to be meeting in Canada, and Zelensky is trying to get a meeting with Trump on the sidelines. I imagine he's going to get that meeting. Yermak said that he was in the United States speaking to the mediator, the neutral negotiator / mediator, Keith Kellogg, arranging the meeting between Zelensky and Trump. And what is Zelensky going to ask of Trump? He is going to ask for money, weapons, Taurus missiles, and sanctions. Bone-crushing sanctions on Russia. Bloomberg has an article to title, Zelensky may meet Trump on the sidelines of G7 summit, aides say. You know what that means. Once Zelensky's done meeting with Trump, Trump is then going to post put some posts up on Truth Social talking about how Putin is playing with fire, and Trump is the only person that is saving Russia from destruction and stuff like that. That's what's going to happen once Zelensky is done meeting with Trump and talking to Trump. So expect the very aggressive Truth Social posts from Trump after he meets with the Green Goblin. And the Wall Street Journal, they are running an article with the title, White House quietly pressures Senate to water down Russia sanctions. Trump administration officials urge Senator Lindsey Graham to weaken legislation. Now, from what I understand, the White House, they are denying the reporting in the Wall Street Journal. The Wall Street Journal absolutely despises Trump, despises Russia, despises Putin, loves Zelensky. They absolutely love Zelensky. The Wall Street Journal. Leave me alone, Mr. B. I don't want to get stung today. Come on, Mr. B. I'm recording a video. Anyway, what was I saying? Let's see. Yes, the Wall Street Journal. They love the Green Goblin. And they're running this article where, according to their sources familiar with the matter, they claim that Trump is begging Lindsey Graham, please, Lindsey Graham, pretty please, Lindsey Graham, Foreign Policy President of the United States, Lindsey Graham, please water down the sanctions against Russia. Please don't put 500% secondary tariffs. Please don't do that, because according to the Wall Street Journal, that's going to ruin Trump's tariff policy, the tariff progress that he is making with many countries, the negotiations that he has going on with many countries, and especially the negotiations on tariffs that he has going on with China, and the progress that he's making with China. Scott Bessent, I believe, is going to meet Chinese officials in London in the next couple of days, so they can talk about the tariffs. And of course, according to sources familiar with the matter, Trump is still negotiating some sort of a peace between Russia and Ukraine, and bone-crushing sanctions are going to ruin his negotiation process. So that is what the Wall Street Journal is reporting. So Trump was on Air Force One, and he was speaking with reporters, and he was asked questions about Project Ukraine, and he was asked many questions about Elon Musk. Of course, he was asked questions about the fight with Elon Musk and his relationship with Elon Musk, if there even is a relationship left, a friendship left with Elon Musk after the huge social media fight that took place the other day. I'll get to that in a bit, what they asked him about Musk. But on Project Ukraine, Trump told the media that Zelensky, with the airfield strike, Zelensky gave Putin, and I quote, a reason to bomb the hell out of Ukraine.
Because he has.
Well, they gave Putin a reason to go in and bomb the hell out of him last night. That's something I didn't like about it. When I saw it, I said, here we go. Now it's going to be a strike.
As I was talking about in my video update on the airfield strike and the phone call between Trump and Putin, I took a guess, and I said that probably the phone call between Trump and Putin, if you go off of Trump's post on Truth Social, was Trump trying to get Putin to not hit Ukraine too hard, to not hit Ukraine at all, but to not hit Ukraine too hard, and Putin telling Trump, sorry, we are going to have to retaliate big time. You know that. And Trump coming to the acceptance that the collective West, that the United States, that his administration, that Ukraine, that his intel services, they all screwed up. Everybody screwed up. They pushed this thing way too far, and Trump accepting that Russia's going to have to strike, and they're going to have to strike very hard. The word that Trump used in his Truth Social post was strongly. Russia's going to retaliate strongly. And Trump is telling the media, that's the way it is. We're just going to have to accept the fact that Putin is going to have to hit Ukraine hard, and there's nothing that we're going to be able to do or say about it. So that's what Trump told the media on Air Force One, and then he pivoted to talking about, or the media pivoted to talking about Musk, of course. Of course, they're going to talk about Musk. Talk a little bit about the possibility of having a nuclear war, about hitting Russia's nuclear assets, the collective West and Ukraine targeting Russia's nuclear assets. Let's talk about that for just a couple of minutes, and then let's pivot over to this fight between U.S. President Trump and Elon Musk. But before we get to that, I want to talk about this Washington Post article by David Ignatius, someone who is very close to the deep state and very close to the intel agencies of the deep state. And he posted an article on the Washington Post, which not many people are talking about, but it's an interesting post, a scary post from the Washington Post with the title, "Ukraine's Dirty War is Just Getting Started. Covert strikes across Russia and beyond are reshaping a conflict that shows no signs of letting up." So this article, given who David Ignatius is, the connections that he has, the Washington Post, the connections at the Washington Post, the Jeff Bezos, CIA, Washington Post, Democracy Dies in Darkness. They're running this article, and what they are basically announcing is that the deep state, they're saying Ukraine Intel Services, but when they say Ukraine Intel Services, we understand what they mean. They're saying the globalists and the globalist deep state intel agencies are shifting this war from a conventional war to a dirty war. They say it in the title, a dirty war. We're talking about sabotage and terrorist acts and things like this, not only in Russia, but also in he singles out South Africa. He talks about South Africa, operations in South Africa. He talks about operations in Transnistria, Moldova, to open up a second front. He does talk about hitting the Russian fleet, wherever they may be, Russian ships, wherever they may be, going after those military assets. And he also talks about Europe. He talks about Europe, and he says that what's going to happen in Europe is that as Ukraine intel agencies, as they sabotage and conduct operations against Russian assets, whether it be in Africa or inside of Russia, in the north of Russia, in the far east of Russia, in Transnistria, wherever those Russian assets may be, as these sabotage operations unfold over the next couple of years, Russia's going to retaliate with their sabotage operations inside of Europe. If you read between the lines, what the Washington Post is saying is for Europeans to expect a lot of false flag operations to go down in Europe. This is a very troubling and very worrying article from the Washington Post, but it is signaling that the war is going to turn into a dirty war. Let me read you some of what the Washington Post is writing. With Trump stepping back as peacemaker, at least for now, Ukraine will depend more than ever on its intelligence services, which have shown an ability to strike Russian forces deep inside their home country and around the world. The front line inside Ukraine will remain a hellscape and drones and artillery, but covert operations could expand into a dirty war beyond the front, with more targeted killings, sabotage, and strikes on countries that supply arms to Ukraine and Russia, respectively. Both sides have long wanted to break out of the stalemated war of attrition, and Sunday's Operation Spiderweb was a bold Ukrainian attempt to reset the table. It is not a stalemate, not even close to a stalemate. The false reporting that both countries are looking to break out of this stalemate, that is also false. Russia is very fine conducting its war of attrition. It's doing what the goals of the SMO are meant to do, and it's conducting the war the way it feels it has to conduct the war, and that is a war of attrition. It's not looking to reset any table. The only thing that might get reset is not even a reset. The only thing that might happen after the attacks on the airfields and especially after the terrorist attacks on the passenger trains the passenger train in Bryansk and the cargo train in Kursk, is that the SMO might get upgraded to an ATO. But anyway, basically the Washington Post is saying that the collective West is resetting the conflict. They're moving the conflict from conventional war to a dirty war. Victoria Nuland talked about this, didn't she? Right before she exited. Nasty surprises are coming, and the war is going to eventually become an asymmetric type of conflict with all kinds of sabotage operations. Victoria Nuland did talk about this a couple of years ago. Many times she talked about this, and then she left the State Department and she went to, what is she, on the board of directors for the National Endowment of Democracy. The Washington Post continues, the countries bordering Ukraine might become new battlegrounds as the war continues. An example is Transnistria, a breakaway region of Moldova on Ukraine's western border that is aligned with Moscow and hosts a Russian peacekeeping force. Using Russian defectors and other local forces, Ukraine considered an operation to attack the Russian troops there, but decided against opening this new front. The spillover danger affects all the other countries bordering Ukraine: Belarus, Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, and Romania, as well as Germany, the Baltic states, and Norway and Finland beyond. Most of these countries support Ukraine, and the Ukrainian intelligence services use Eastern European capitals, get this, use Eastern European capitals as hubs for their operations. It's all too easy to imagine a widening campaign of Russian sabotage and assassination threats, such as those that began last year. Yeah, there's a whole lot of projection in this article about assassinations and sabotage. The assassinations that have taken place in Russia, the well documented, the investigated assassinations of journalists, bloggers, generals that have taken place inside of Russia, conducted by Ukraine Intel, by the SBU, and now they're saying that the sabotage operations are going to happen in Europe, and it's going to be Russia's retaliation to this dirty war that is about to be launched. Probably has been launched with Operation Spiderweb. Maybe Operation Spiderweb was the trigger to launch this dirty war. So that's the Washington Post. Do I have anything else to say about this very troubling, disturbing article from the Washington Post? We're going to see a lot of false flags in the next couple of years in Europe. The intel agencies, CIAs, MI6s. I'm very, very worried about what's going to happen in the next couple of years. A lot of weapons, too, floating around. A whole lot of weapons floating around on the black market. So I think I'll move on. And we can talk about the Russian strikes into Ukraine yesterday. The second day of Russian missile strikes, Iskanders this time. And Russia really hit Kharkov hard with drones and with missiles. Perhaps the hardest that Kharkov has been hit to date. The Russian military also hit Dnipropetrovsk, and they demolished, at least it looks like, if you go off of the reports and you go off of the videos, that they demolished a military factory in Kiev, the Bolshevik factory. And there were, according to the reports, there were a lot of weapons stored in the basement underground of this factory. And when Russian missiles hit the factory, it caused all kinds of secondary explosions. And the video just shows all of these secondary explosions just going off from the strikes into the Bolshevik factory. We do have the reports that I think it was 10 Iskanders in total were launched yesterday. And we are getting reports that the Patriot missile, for the third time ever, the Patriot missile system managed to knock down one Iskander, but everything else pretty much got through. Everything was pretty much hit. All the targets hit. But it does look like the Patriot system did manage to knock down one Iskander missile, which I believe is the third time that an Iskander missile has, in history, that an Iskander missile has been taken down by air defense systems, or at least by the Patriot air defense system. So David Lammy, the foreign secretary of the UK, which is constantly talking about how they are at war with Russia, how they're preparing for war with Russia, how they are at war with Russia, and how Russia's attacking the UK, or is about to attack the UK. The foreign secretary posted on X, "Yet again, Putin is attacking cities, homes, and civilians. These are not military targets, but barbaric acts. Among those killed were members of the state emergency services who were working tirelessly to save and protect lives." And to Lammy's post on X, the Russian embassy in the UK, they replied by saying, "Yesterday, successful high-precision strikes against the Kiev regime's military infrastructure were in response to its vile terrorist attacks on 1 June, in which a passenger train in Russia's Bryansk region was intentionally derailed, with 7 dead and over 120 wounded civilians, including women and children. The UK government's silence on this hideous crime speaks volumes." That's an important sentence. The UK government's silence on this hideous crime speaks volumes. Russia's blaming the UK for all of this, for a lot of this. They're saying the U.S. was involved in everything that happened on the 1st of June. But they are absolutely placing most of the blame on the UK. And this is coming from the Russian embassy in the UK in response to the foreign secretary. So there's going to be some trouble for Stammer, and I think there's going to be some trouble for the UK. I don't know when or how it's going to happen. I don't know how Russia's going to retaliate when it comes to a collective West country, when it comes to the UK. But no doubt about it, Russia is singling out the UK. We've had 2-3 days of messages, of statements from Russia and from high-level officials inside the Kremlin, saying that the UK was behind much of this. Things are heating up, man. Things are escalating. The daughter of the neutral mediator and negotiator, Trump's envoy to Ukraine and Russia, the very neutral, the negotiator, the mediator, Keith Kellogg. She posted on X talking about the attacks into Ukraine via the Russian military. She said, "At General Kellogg, loud night in Kiev, Dad. It might be explosions and gunfire in the dead of night, but I get the strange feeling that Russians don't want peace." Addressed to the dad, who is the neutral mediator and negotiator appointed by Trump for Ukraine and Russia. Let's talk about Elon and Trump. It does look like Elon Musk is trying to de-escalate. I think Musk has realized. I'm very sure when you go to Musk's X account and you read his recent messages that are connected to Trump, it's obvious that Musk is trying to de-escalate and that he realized that he may have gone a bit too far with the Epstein post. Dropping the E-bomb may have been a bit too far, and it was too far. Criticize Trump all you want. Criticize the BBB, the Build Back Better, the big beautiful bill. Criticize that all you want. Tell people to vote against the BBB. Do all of these things, but that one post was going way too far, and then followed up by calling to impeach the president. It looks like Musk is realizing that he took things a bit too far. Way too far. And he posted on X in reply to the account Amuse, who posted an article saying that Trump is cutting funding for California high-speed rail. And Musk posted sensible move by President Donald Trump at Real Donald Trump. And he posted another thing on X, which was Trump talking, I believe it was Trump talking about the electric vehicle subsidies and how he's going to take a look at that and he's going to do what's fair for the United States. That was Trump's statement. He's going to do what's fair for the United States. He's not looking at it as a way to get back at Musk. That's what he was telling the media on Air Force One. And Musk also posted that this is fair. He said, at Real Donald Trump, this is a fair statement that he was making. So Musk is trying to de-escalate and calm things down, and that's good. That's the right approach, and hopefully Trump follows on what Musk is doing, and it looks like he is, and we get a type of detente. You don't have to be friends, you don't have to be best of buddies, but you don't have to have a fight on social media and post e-bombs about the president of the United States and all of these things. You don't have to go to those levels. You can say that you don't like each other, that you had a falling out, and you can leave it there. No need to argue, at least not publicly on X. So Trump, he said that he was asked by a reporter that, Trump said he hopes that Tesla does well. And a reporter asked him, do you have any plans to speak with Mr. Musk? And Trump said, I don't have any plans. Somebody made a mistake. And then Trump started to talk about how there were reports, and I said this reading a Politico actually. They put out the report that they called Trump, and Trump said he's going to meet with Elon Musk. The White House is setting up a call, not a meeting, a call with Elon Musk, and they're going to try to patch things up. And Trump was telling the reporters this is false. There was no scheduled call with Elon Musk. There's no meeting, but I wish Musk well. I wish Tesla well. And as far as talking to Musk, Trump said, I've got all kinds of things that I'm dealing with. He said, I'm dealing with the Middle East, with Iran, with China, with Ukraine, with Russia. He said, I don't really have time to think about Musk. So that was Trump's statement. And he was saying all of this very calm. He was very calm. and not angry at all as he was talking to reporters. And he did say that he wishes Musk well. He was asked by a reporter if he's going to take any type of measures, retaliation against Musk's businesses or anything like that. And Trump said, look, we're going to see what's going on with the subsidies and all of these things, but I wish Tesla well. That was pretty much what Trump was saying, though he did leave the door open. Perhaps some people can interpret it as leaving the door open for him to take some sort of action against Elon's businesses or contracts with the government. Probably contracts with the government. Maybe those can be given elsewhere. I don't know. But he did leave that door open in his statements. So Musk, he is posting about creating on X, creating a third political party, a viable, strong, competitive third political party in the United States. Perhaps the party's name is the America Party. The people have spoken. A new political party is needed in America to represent the 80% in the middle. And exactly 80% of people agree. So he put out a poll on X, and 80% of the people, he asked the question, does the United States need another political party, a third party? And 80% of the people said yes. And Musk is now hinting at creating the America Party. Not a bad name. Not a bad name and not a bad idea, actually. Musk has the money. He definitely has the money. He has the influence, the media. He has the media, which is probably one of the most important things, to put together a third party, a viable, competitive third party for the United States, which is really hard to do. Almost impossible to do, but if there's anyone that can do it, that has the resources to do it, it's and the infrastructure, it's Musk. So I think this is a good idea. Good to have a third party in this two-party system, duopoly, monopoly, duopoly that the United States currently has. So in some other news, The Guardian on its front page has the title, "Russia is at war with us," warns defense advisor. The defense advisor in this Guardian article is none other than Fiona Hill. Remember her? Remember her? Russiagate followers, people that were plugged into Russiagate. And Trump is a Putin stooge. Remember Fiona Hill? Who has, I believe she has dual citizenship, right? UK and US. And she is, from what I understand, she is part of the Stammer, either the Stammer government, or she's a Stammer government advisor, an intel and a defense advisor. She absolutely despises Russia, of course. And yeah, she's now saying that Russia is at war with the UK. She's picking up from where she left off with Russiagate, and now she's in the UK stirring up trouble, fear and trouble. Wagner PMC, remember Wagner? They are withdrawing from Africa, from Mali, and they are saying that their mission in Mali has been accomplished. For 3.5 years, the musicians fought shoulder to shoulder with the people of Mali against terrorism, Wagner said, using the informal name for its contractors. We eliminated thousands of militants and their commanders who had terrorized the civilian population for years. And we're talking about Tuareg rebels and Al-Qaeda linked militants that Wagner was invited by the authorities, the government in Mali and in the region in general. They've been invited to take care of these militants, to help organize the local military and defense forces, And according to the statement from Wagner, the mission has been accomplished. They also claim that these al-Qaeda-linked militants are getting a lot of their training, their funding, and their weapons, especially their weapons, from none other than Ukraine. This is what they are claiming. A lot of the weapons are getting smuggled across the border to these militants, and these are Project Ukraine weapons. And Project Ukraine military and mercenaries training these al-Qaeda-linked militants in Africa. Bad things are coming. Very bad things are coming with all of this talk of militants, the militants that are operating in Africa, the talk of sabotage in Europe, dirty wars, and of course all of the weapons that are all over the place from Project Ukraine. Cash Patel was on Joe Rogan, the FBI director, and he said that Epstein Island videos of crimes being committed is speculation, and he's gone through whatever footage he has been provided that the FBI had. He's gone through the videos, through the footage, and he said that all of these allegations, the talk about bad stuff happening on the island, is speculation, according to Cash Patel. Which means one of two things. Either Cash Patel is not saying the truth, he's covering up, or the FBI has destroyed all kinds of videos and evidence. I guess it's just one of the two. I don't know. Anyway, that's Cash Patel. Let's do a clown world, and we can wrap this video up. From the German publication Rheinische Post, they have an article with the title, "Does Trump think German Chancellor Merz is a Nazi?" Did Merz perform well with Trump? This question is of little interest in the American media. They focus on other aspects of the meeting between the German Chancellor and the US President. I wonder if this post is real. I wonder if this is a real article from a German publication. Sometimes I read these articles, the titles that they're coming up with, and I don't know if it's real or if it's AI, but there you have it. After Merz met with Trump, and Merz was talking about D-Day, and Trump said it didn't work out so well for you. World War II did not work out so well for you. That's what he told Merz. It looks like there's some German media asking if Trump believes that Merz is an Nazi. Interesting article from German media. That's German media saying this, not me. If this article is not AI generated, that is. If it's AI generated, then just forget about everything I just said, and let's move on to the next clown world, which is coming out of Hong Kong, where they have a theater production. Trump, the twins president. That's the theater production that they have going on. And from what I understand about this play, this theater production in Hong Kong, Trump has, I believe, has a twin brother or an alien twin brother, and the alien twin brother has to fight it out with an Zelensky double. I'm not sure about the plot for this theater production. I'm sure I'm getting it all wrong, but there's something about aliens and Trump's twin brother who's abducted by aliens or is an alien, and he has to travel to China so that he can fight Zelensky's twin brother or Zelensky's alien twin brother, and that's the theater production that is taking place in Hong Kong. Sounds pretty good, actually. I would watch it. That's the video, everybody. TheDuran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, X, Telegram, and go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch for the next couple of days. It is 25% off merchandise on the Duran shop. I will put a link in the description box down below. I will see everybody tomorrow. I want to make my way to that beautiful tree. And now I can go. So the news is over. If you guys want to stick with me so we can see how our beautiful Athens tree next to the Running Man glass sculpture is doing. What a beautiful tree. And it's old. This tree is very, very old. "15 centuries old olive tree." 15 centuries old, everybody.